Hi friends, Mindy here. I have a flip through for you today. This is my completed journal and tag ring for Fit for the Master's Use from Bythewell4God. I worked in both of these this month. I kind of worked in them for different reasons. The tag ring I created from the Tag Bob kit, and I used this more to kind of record prayers on the back. So I'll flip through the artwork, but I'm not going to show obviously the prayers because those were private. But and then I created this little junk journal for my notes from the devotional. And so I will link the process videos or just the playlist for this particular kit down below if you're interested in seeing some of those old videos. I did create this journal with a twine binding so that you can pull the signatures out or even just a page of the signature out. And that just worked really well for how I wanted to work through this book. So I just created this little junk journal. As always, there's going to be lots of notes, lots of tuck spots, lots of pockets. So this one is starting with day 1. Is talking about your heart. And so I have the little heart image here. I have one of the scriptures kind of tucked in behind that cluster of one of the notes there. I have a scripture here, and then it moves over onto this page where I have some of the devotional information here. And then day 2 starts on this one section of the file folder. I loved these little jars, these like apothecary jars. This month was probably one of my favorite pieces to use. And then this day is talking about, to add to your knowledge and faith and virtue and whatever. So I took the clear stickers and I just kind of made this little cabinet, and then I wrote on each of the labels all of those different things. So it has knowledge and virtue and faith, temperance, patience, brotherly kindness, godliness, charity. And I just made this little kind of image of all of those things that we're supposed to be adding, talking about like the supplements that we need to be adding into our lives. And then I have a pocket here with some of the scriptures, and then some more notes about some of those things from day 2. Day 3 starts here, and I actually used one of the stickers that came with one of the title starters. Most of these ended up in my tag ring, but I did add this one here. And then I used that file folder and just created a little pocket. So I actually glued it down on this side, and then it has my little file or my flashcards in there that have the scriptures. And then I used one of the scripture cards here to create a pocket for some extra notes. There was a lot of verses on this day that I wanted to include. And then this is also day 3 with some more of the verses. And then this is just one of the scripture cards that came with the kit. And I tucked that in there as well. Again, just created a pocket with some of the pattern paper. And then day 4, I started this out with this little doctor's coat ephemera piece, and I used that as a tuck spot. So I have a little label here. I loved the apothecary labels, and then I just thought that was super cute. So I stuck that in there. I think Maker Mom was the first one I saw kind of do something similar to that, Angela on the creative team. And then I have my scriptures tucked back behind there as well. And then moving on, this is still day 4. And again, I'm just using all of these kind of ephemera pieces and different things to create tuck spots. Here I have some texture paste with that beautiful eucalyptus stencil. And I think I have a process video for this day. I can't remember. Like I said, I'll put the playlist with all of the process videos for this devotional kit down in the description below. And day 5 starts over here. I just made a little pocket out of one of the scripture cards, and again I put the flashcards and some notes in here. Used one of the bigger ephemera pieces. I'm working in kind of a smaller journal, so these big pieces worked well for like tuck spots and just kind of made focal images. And then of course scripture tucked in there as well. Day 6, again with these jars that I just kind of cut out and made a little cluster. And then I have my flashcards here. These are some notes from the devotional that I used. I put on the labels there, and then I just created a little tab just for the fun of it, I guess. Really, I was trying to pull this color over to this side for day 6, and so I just stapled that on there. And then this is also part of day 6 with this beautiful floral piece, and then some more scripture tucked in there. Day 7, this day there's actually a process video for it. If you've not seen it, I had my husband do the voiceover for it, and it's it's hilarious. So if I, I can say that because my husband is hilarious, but so if you haven't seen that one, it says something about like with a guest, and so I would go watch that one because it's super funny. But I did have a process video, so I didn't really talk about how I did all of these things. You just kind of have to listen to him kind of stumble through it, but it's so funny. So anyway, I have this the file folder here, and I kind of created a double pocket out of it. So I glued down the one section so that I could put these flashcards in the front, and then I glued the file folder down to the coffee dyed paper on the bottom side here, so I would have even another spot to tuck some more notes. This is day 7. I can't remember if I mentioned that. Then over here, I just have a section down here though from the paper pack, and created a little cluster there with some of the, this was actually part of the pattern paper. I just cut them out, and there were stamps that had these same kind of ideas, but I just really liked the size and everything of these particular ones, so I just actually cut those out from the sheet of paper. And then my notes back here as well, and then what my husband referred to lovingly as brain flowers. So this is talking about your mind and stuff, and so I have the brain kind of tucked back in here with this floral cluster, and then I have what I did was I also have this journaling card. This is from one of the digital papers, and so I have one of my scriptures back there. But what I did back here is I put down some texture paste, and while the texture paste was still wet, I applied some embossing glaze. And when I dried it, or melted the embossing glaze after I let everything dry, the color was really kind of bright yellow, and I just didn't feel like it coordinated very well with this page over here. So then I took a distress crayon and I just kind of scribbled over the top of it to just sort of darken up that color. It was really this kind of crazy yellow color. It came out a lot brighter than I was anticipating. So in the video, he mentions that he liked it before I did that, but that was my reasoning behind it. In case you have seen that video, that was the thought process behind what I was doing. And then of course there's just some cheesecloth down here for some added texture. So that was day 7. Day 8, I used this fun like vintage ambulance, and then you created a pocket back here for my flashcards. Again, this is one of the journaling cards that came with the kit, and I have just some notes tucked in there. I used some coffee dyed paper that was lace patterned, and then I have some that was just regular coffee dyed paper. So that's what I used here in conjunction with the pattern paper from the kit. And then I have this big ephemera piece here for day 9. I have some other fabric kind of back behind there. And what I did so that I could make this into a little tuck spot was I glued the fabric to the back of this die cut piece, and then I glued another piece of cardstock onto the back of that so that I would have a place so that my cards could slide in and out of there easily. Otherwise, it would just kind of get stuck on the fabric. So there's actually kind of a backer behind the fabric. That's it just made that work a little bit easier there. So here's one of the file folders. Again, I just glued that down to create a pocket. Again, another piece that I cut from the pattern paper. Have my little tuck spot over here. And then day 10 starts over here with another one of those big, beautiful sprays of florals. I have my flashcards tucked in there. I have a quote from J.C. Ryle here, and then a scripture also tucked in the back. Again, I just made a pocket out of some of the pattern paper, and you'll see those apothecary jars again. Day 11, same thing. I used one of the florals here to create a pocket for my little flashcards. And then this was some paper that the team was sent, and it just has some skulls, and then there's also some scripture on there. And then I just kind of created this little cluster down here at the bottom. And there's, toward the end of this devotional, talking about, well, kind of all of it is really talking about kind of dying out to yourself and really taking on the mind of Christ and just trying to be more like Christ. And so even though, these are our schools, that's really kind of what this reminds me. So some of this imagery is really just the way that my mind is working through some of these scriptures about, putting off the old man and all those kinds of things. So again, I have a scripture card tucked back in there behind that pattern paper. Day 12, I used a little slide here with one of the clear stickers. These were the little mini stickers. And then I just put a piece of acetate here, and that was actually the packaging from like the sticker set or whatever. And I just glued that on there. Again, some more cheesecloth. I loved the cheesecloth this month for the just extra texture, the kind of the gauzy feel. And then I created a pocket over here with that pattern paper. And then this is a tag that I created, and this actually was created at the same time as this other day. I had some extra and I didn't want to waste the texture paste, so I just pulled out a tag and used it, and I knew that I would use it later on in my kit, so that just worked out. So I would have kind of a pre-made ephemera piece to work with, and then I just added some dimension with a distress crayon and some water, and then I stenciled that same eucalyptus stencil kind of in the background, but this time just in brown for that coffee dyed paper. And this part actually is from the thank you card from the kit. I wanted to use those big bottles again, and I was out of them, so I just pulled those out and just created a little side tuck. And then I have some notes here from Judy's writing for day 12. Day 13, I have another use of that fingerprint stencil. This actually wasn't this month's kit, but I just felt like it went really well with this particular devotional. And so I created this tag, and then I have some scripture on the back of there. And then I wanted to be able to see all of that, so I created a vellum pocket here, used one of the clear stickers and some of that the faux washi from the sticker pack. And then again, a floral image over here that acts as a little tuck spot for all of my journaling cards. And then day 14, I wanted to use this brain, and the only thing that I could think of when I was using this brain was my husband saying about the brain flowers. So, and it makes me giggle every single time I think about it. So I went ahead and just put a bunch of flowers back behind this brain, because if you haven't seen that video, one of the things that he says is because the only thing that would make the flowers better is a brain. So it's just kind of a nod to that. Just kind of made me laugh, but just some scriptures tucked in here. Again, this is like one of my favorite papers, I think, this month. So between that and the bottles, I can't quite decide, but I love these labels. And so I just created a couple of pockets for my notes on there. And then on the back side, where this back part of the file folder is, I glued this down again, made a little pocket, and then I have one of the little ephemera pieces here and a little ruffle that I had created actually much earlier. It just hadn't fit on really any of the pages, and so I tucked it on there. And you can kind of see I have these two left over. There were two signatures basically that I did not use, that I had made because I wasn't sure how many pages I was going to fill up. And so I just pulled those signatures out, and I can reuse those in another journal or for some other purpose. And if I wanted to, I could go back and retie it, but I'm not bothered by it. You really can't see them because this journal, as you can see, still ended up quite chunky even without those other two signatures in there. So that is the journal. And then I'm just going to go through real quickly the tag bob as well. So again, I will link all of my process videos, but I added all of these little fibers and things after the fact. I don't like to have them on there while I'm working through the kit. They kind of get in the way, and so I just added those. So if you've seen any of my pictures on Instagram, these aren't on there, but that's why I always wait to do that until the end. But just on the front here, I have those bottles and some more of that. I was going to say mummy cloth, but it's cheesecloth. Mummy cloth is basically the Tim Holtz version of cheesecloth. Anyway, some fabric down here on the bottom, and then this is my cover. I did cover that in. These are really thick chipboard covers, and I covered mine in paper. Again, I do have the process video for that, and then I included one of the scriptures that for this devotional here. And again, this I used as a prayer journal. So for every day, I kind of tried to take away the thing that I felt like I was my takeaway for each day, and I wrote a prayer on the backside for each of these days. And again, those are just kind of private, so I'm not going to share those. But on this day, for day 1, the verse is talking about, searching your heart. So I have this little microscope. I have some stenciling really lightly in the background. I used this glassine envelope to house this scripture card here that says search on it, because that's really what we're talking about for that day. And then just some trim down here on the bottom. You can see prayer on the back. And then for day 2, I have a little file folder actually that I glued on here, and I have some notes and scriptures tucked in here as well. I loved this image with this kind of open book. Again, some of this cheesecloth tucked in there, really, you know, looking at examining our hearts. Day 3 is where I used this fingerprint and just wanted that to kind of be the main focus, talking about being like Christ. And so when I had the leftover texture paste from this day, that's when I created that other tag. So anytime you're doing those kind of mixed media things and you have those kind of things out, you might as well just make another thing, especially if you have extra, you know, if like you get too much out of your palette knife or whatever, just, you know, pop it down on some book paper or some tags or something, and then you have a ready-made piece of ephemera, or at least a base to start with down the road. So that's just a little thing that I like to do whenever I'm creating with things like this. So I just created a little, these are actually 2 different floral pieces stacked on top of each other, and then one down here at the bottom. I wanted really that to be kind of the focus of being like Christ. This is day, what is this? Day 4. I did stamp on the back of each one of these the day. So again, this is that eucalyptus stencil. I loved that stencil. I went through that and I did some coloring in with, I think I actually used the Faber-Castell markers on this one to just add some dimension on there. Here's some more fabric. And then I created this. I actually stamped one of the little jars out, and then I used the sticker that came with the goodies with the kit, and then I embossed over the top of that just to kind of give it a glaze to it. This is actually kind of bumpy. I could have used glossy accents, but I didn't really want to be bothered with the wait time for glossy accents for something like this, honestly, on this day. So I just used some embossing powder. I think some clear embossing powder for that day. And then this day has a little slide on it. I have the little heart and lungs, as well as a couple different stencils in the background. I have a script stencil, and then that kind of gauze stencil, and then just some focal images. And then I have just this card tucked in here. I had written out the verse on the day, and so I just tucked the flashcard on in my little tag ring, and then I just sewed a little ruffle kind of roughly across the bottom. That was day 5. Day 6, again, I used another slide. This has a little heart in there. And the same thing where I just add a little bit of acetate over the top. I have some stamping in the background and then some paper. And then I popped up this little jar here to kind of mimic what was on there. And then day 7, I believe this is day 7. Yes, day 7. I used another one of those journaling cards. These were part of the digital items that you can get, and the extra papers. And I loved these little journaling cards. So I pulled one of these out and put that there with talking about, you know, our heart and our mind and everything. And again, I just glued a little ruffle down there at the bottom. Day 8, again, I used another one of those little vintage looking flashcards. I loved these images. I thought they were so cool. And then I have down here a sticker that says "A Life That Teaches." I have some more of this cheesecloth. And then this is another just image from the devotional. That was day 8. This one is day 9. Again, you'll see that jar paper because I really just loved it. And then I have some fabric. This was sent to the creative team. And then I have this one that has like this little band-aid, and it's really talking about like searching the scriptures and stuff. So I wanted to make sure that I had that little band-aid that says "to be a Berean." And on this one, I didn't cover the whole tag. I just kind of left an edge around it, just to give it a different sort of look. Day 10, this was the day was called "The Needful Task." You can see I have that here. Most of these labels that came in that sticker pack I have, but they're on the back side of the card here as I was indicating which day. This one was a super simple day. I just used the pattern paper and a couple of the stickers and this one little ephemera piece, and that wrapped it up. And then I just wrote out my prayer on the back of that. Day 11, again with a slide. I have the little brain piece here, and then this fun skull paper. I know that's not for everybody, but it made sense to me with like the day and what with the content of that day. And so that's why it is on day 11. Day 12, I have some more of that, those jars. I have that gauze type stencil in the background, and then this image with some more of the gauze or the cheesecloth on there. Just really super simple day. That was day 12. Trying to get these to flip around. Day 13, this was another funny thing that when my husband was doing the voiceover, he saw this foot in my stack of ephemera, and he was like, he mentioned that he would have used the foot because he thought the foot was really cool. So I wanted to make sure that I included the foot somewhere. So it's here. And this is just kind of talking about walking worthily and stuff. So it's on day 13. And then day 14, again, I used I really liked these kind of black and white line images. And so I just used that with one of those big Band-Aid pieces and just kind of created a little cluster down here and the pattern paper in the back. So most of this was really just for really the purpose of being able to create this journal with some prayers, because this devotional really was talking a lot about making sure that we are the title fit for the master's use, but really kind of taking an introspective look. And I just feel like this is a good time of year to do that. It's kind of starts a process of working into next year. That's kind of what I go through anyway. Just think it's good to kind of reflect at the end of the year, and then we move into gratitude in, you know, November and everything. Not that we shouldn't be thankful every day, but there's, you know, more of a focus in November, and then December kind of starts preparing our hearts for January. And so for all of those things, I just felt like this was the timing of this kit was really good. And so for that reason, I wanted to make sure, and I took my time going through it. I'm a little late getting it finished. The new kit has already released and sold out, but I did want to share this with you today. So if you liked this video, I would really appreciate it if you gave it a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and until next time, bye.